for our young guys and girls, it was more about them going out there and challenging themselves against some of the best people in the country. And, you know, for us as a club to show that not necessarily, you know, we may not have the large volume of elite competitors, but we've certainly got a lot of competitors at the top end. The girls have been saying the last 12 months or 2 years that they're carrying this club, and it's quite funny because you would have said a year or two before that it was all the boys. Look, I think the only way that, you know, something like that in terms of an overall win in the club series can happen is by everyone pulling their weight. And, you know, through, you know, the males, you know, our open competitors, the likes of, you know, Jet Kenny and J-Mo Porter, you know, and then some of the youngsters coming through who were 19s last year who are going to remain in the sport, the likes of Campbell Guthrie, Cooper Williams, you know, you throw Reece Burrows in there. You know, the depth in our men's area is certainly super strong, and I think we'll continue to go from strength to strength. And then, you know, obviously you look at our women's, and for us to pick up, you know, an Iron Woman like Tiarn Raymond and set an example for our youngsters coming through, you know, the likes of Lani Pallister, Emma Woods, Taylor Halliday, and then obviously, you know, we had a great group of, you know, older girls in the 19s, Ellie Halliday, you've got Morgan Bolero and Olivia Heaton. You know, there's certainly a really strong group coming through, and I guess that is what holds us in good stead for the future. I think for Cooper, he's probably one that maybe is slightly different to that in a way where he's already had a lot of experience at a young age racing at an open elite level. And, you know, there has been a few races. I remember over here at Maroochydore a few years ago, you know, he was the one person, he finished second to Shannon at the Murphy Builders Classic as I think he was a 15 or 16-year-old in an open Ironman. So he does know how to mix it with the big guns. You know, his swim, and most certainly in the last year or so, his board has become, you know, a weapon of his. And for him, it's just a continuation of trying to work to build that strength and spend time on the ski to then continue to grow as an Ironman. Yeah, look, I certainly think she does. You know, I think winning the series is probably a whole nother step up for Tiarn. Not to say that she's not capable of doing it. She most certainly is. But I think for her, we've sort of worked more on, you know, the process and improving every leg as an individual leg more than, you know, what she can do in an Ironwoman. I think we saw that through the Ocean 6 last year. And, you know, hopefully we see her feature throughout some of the Summer of Surf this year in the individual stuff as well. But, you know, her ski is certainly, you know, a strength, as is her swim. And I think, you know, at Aussie, she finished 4th in the board race. So she can mix it with the best of the best. And I think for her, it's a lot more self-belief and confidence that she belongs there and that she can mix it with these girls that'll make the biggest difference. Oh, that's a tough question, Trent, out of all my athletes. I would say, any individual leg series. I think, you know, the likes of Campbell Guthrie and Reece Burrows in the board are certainly going to be two that will most definitely be in the mix for us. And at the top end, you know, our board paddling, we got plenty of depth. J-Mo Porter's won rounds before, as has Jet Kenny. So, you know, it's almost anyone's guess, and it's hard for me to pick, you know, any one because we have had such, you know, a good couple of years in terms of individual races at Ocean 6.
You must be pretty confident to win a few board relays then.
I'd like to say we would have won a few more at the Australian titles in the last couple of years, but we haven't. You know, I certainly think that, look, you know, as far as I'm concerned, on paper, our board relay is as good, if not better, than anyone else's. And I think probably our A and B team are as good, if not better, than anyone else's. So, you know, I'll throw it out there that if anyone can beat us in a board relay this year, no, I'm only joking. I'll give him $100.
Yeah, I got that.
You know, I think we were lucky in a way to have really good people and really good mentors involved and a great group that brought us through down in Victoria at a really good time. You know, so I think that's probably the reason why I've stayed involved in the sport, because I had good people around. And I guess for me, you know, it's trying to be one of those people for the young up-and-comers and the people. And I guess I'm lucky in a way too. It now is my full-time job, and this is what I do for work. And, you know, that certainly wasn't necessarily the case for the people that put a lot of time and effort into us as kids. But, you know, trying to create and provide the same opportunity that we were given and time for these youngsters coming through. Yeah, look, for me, it's certainly not necessarily about building an elite squad, and we have that, but what I really enjoy is the interaction between our opens and our seniors, right through to our juniors and our youth, and that's what I see as important. And if you listen to our podcast or you listen to a lot of interviews and stuff that I've done, I always am talking about the pathways and stuff for these kids, and I think that's what's important, whether they're 13 or 14 or even younger and still in nippers, or the 17-year-olds that are coming through. The only way these people are going to stay in the sport is for them to have people to look up to and them to have things to look forward to and want to try and achieve. And I certainly think through Ocean 6, and the Kellogg's Nutrigrain series as well, hopefully we're back to providing that so that there is, opportunity for these kids and for them to set goals and dreams and want to be involved in the sport for a long time. We do have a great culture here, and the Alex Surf Club has been around for a very long time. I think it's something like 97 years, and they've been competitive for a long time as well. And I think what's really driving our athletes is that continual growth and progression, and they can see the improvement. The club had never finished, I don't think we'd ever finished second at an Australian titles ever before last year. So to continue to have year after year some of the best years, if not the best years this club's ever had and seen in surf sports, it's certainly continuing to drive those athletes and keep them hungry and wanting to get better and better. And we've got a fantastic general manager in Ashley Robinson, and you see him around. I think there's a few people that make jokes that he's the most glorified handler on the beach. He's had that one a few times here and there, but it's not about that. He's a bloke that's happy to pick up and move the bins around out the front and pick up rubbish when they're overflowing and wipe the tables down. And he sets the bar, and tripped over a jellyfish, mate. He sets the bar for everyone, and that no job is necessarily too big or too small. And I think for us it certainly starts at the top and works its way down. We've got a very supportive management committee as well, or operations committee, that keep everything in check, but at the same time allow us to do the things that we want and need to do to continue to grow and perform and improve as a club. There was a trip to a state team trip to I think it was Bondi, where we had a fair bit of fun. We stayed at a school down there, and I can remember, I think Trent Golding might have dared me to jump out the window and run nude down the road. I think I might have been involved in that as a 14 or 15-year-old, and then I think I also pashed a young girl on the dance floor at the after party, which was held in pretty high regard by the older members of the team. Probably not potentially the things that I've done, but I certainly want them to get that same sort of experience, to be involved in trips away, and that's what Ocean 6 and Summer of Surf have provided for us in the last few years. And I know that my team and our guys and girls most certainly enjoy the trip away and the camaraderie and being together as a team, and the travel just as much as they do the competition and winning races.